driven by ideas, innovation, and an influence. Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio, where insight meets execution and powerful stories shape real-world success. Here, we sit down with authors, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders to explore the ideas, strategies, and experiences defining our time. This is where clarity meets ambition and vision turns into action. So lean in, stay curious, and join the conversation. You're listening to Dove and Dragon Radio, where the dove brings clarity and the dragon drives results.
Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with special guest and good friend, Jim Lutes, who's the CEO of Lutes International. Welcome.
Well, welcome. Thank you much for your friendship too. And, I love entrepreneurs and, you're one of the most ambitious and results proven entrepreneurs out there. So a lot of want to be entrepreneurs, but a lot of people actually walk the talk and you're one of them.
So tell us a little bit about what you do. I know what you do, but I'm sure my listeners don't.
Yeah, no problem. I became enamored with the modalities of the human mind. I'm not really a mindset coach. I went to a party. I know it sounds weird. And then there was a hypnotist there and he was doing more of the funny, stuff. But I was amazed because he kept bringing up the subconscious mind. And I was reading Magic of Believing, Think and Grow Rich, Wallace Wattles, Science of Getting Rich, 1918. And so I was looking at all that. I drew that correlation. I said, that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life, period. And I'm kind of OCD, so I just devoured, went in there, went and trained under the best hypnosis expert in the world. And off I went. And that was 30 years ago. And then, paralleled it with neurolinguistic programming, psychosomatic parenthetic, psychoneuroimmunology. So the modalities of the mind, Melissa, is my oceanography or astronomy. So it gives you that emotional gratification because people don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. No, you've been doing this for a while now. We'll say that respectfully. What has changed since you started?
Market dilution. But, the guy is a mind expert who wasn't last week. And, so nobody these days wants to be an intern. Nobody these days wants to be an apprentice. They're like embarrassed, to be an apprentice or an intern. So they want to be the Insta expert. And the challenge is on the customer or, consumer side, they sometimes don't know how to vet that out. In other words, somebody that has been doing something for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, they're well more versed in their expertise than somebody that's been doing it for 3 months. Now, everybody has to start, but at the same token, it's hard for people not to just set up a page and they're the experts. And I believe that the results are diminished when you don't have the expertise.
Oh, 100% agree with you. I mean, you can be an expert in anything these days with help of AI, right?
Yeah.
It takes 3 seconds, but really, are you really an expert?
No, and it's sad that, people aren't accessing the depth of information, no matter what anybody does. You're very talented at what you do. Again, people have to start out. But at the end of the day, one of the things I think that, I have going for me is that I'm very Googleable. So you got to use a third word, though, because there's an artist in Chicago that stole my name and that's not me. And so there's 2 people out there. They go, you're a painter? No, I'm not a painter. That's the other guy. And so if you Google Jim Lutes Mind or Jim Lutes Success or Jim Lutes seminars or Jim Lutes events, I've been around a long time. And that gives me my third-party credibility and validity, which is an ace card, against, not against, but, the people that are Insta experts out there.
Exactly. And you have an event coming up, I know, in July. I believe that's Deep Dive.
Yeah, that's one of my flagship events. I've been doing live events for 30 years all over since I was 5 years old. I'm kidding. But I've been doing events for a long time, and that's my favorite thing. To do live audiences. I used to play in bands, and I didn't want to play on, in a studio. I didn't want to give guitar lessons. I preferred to jump out on the stage. So I kind of just took that love of the stage and moved it into what I do now. Deep dive is speakers are flowing in from, you've been to it, speakers are flowing in from all over the world to speak at this event, relationships, money, emotions, health, and just to where it's a very embracing event to where people can level up in whatever area that is, because they're all interrelated.
I mean, I brought my daughter last time you was there, and she was like, I don't think I want to go. By the time we were ready to leave, she didn't want to leave. That's how mind-changing it is. And that's for a 20-year-old autistic person. She didn't want to leave. She's learning something.
Yeah, she was so nice. And if you can make your money by giving and not by taking, then you have a great, fruitful career. If you're doing things for people, not to people, and then you don't have to take a vow of poverty, but you can also help all people, including yourself. So yeah, it's super cool. I'm very blessed. You
are, and you're super Google able. I don't know the actual words.
I made that up, so you can borrow.
so we're Googly or whatever. We'll find an actual word and work it. But you have your books out.
Yeah, I've got a lot going on. I'm always a firm believer. I have the Change book series is the fastest growing personal development book series in the world, by far. We have celebrities in there. Les Brown writes the foreword. Cindy Valette, the world poker legend, the winner of The Voice television, called me out of Nashville to be in, and I shot over to Nashville and hung out with him for a while. So it's all PR marketing and branding when we're talking about the book. Because it's part of something called the Change Signature Suite. And that's more than the book is the nucleus, but my mentorship is included, podcasts, masterminds, et cetera, because people just don't know, like I said, what they don't know. I mean, a few minor tweaks, adjustments, and shifts, and they're off to the races. And so they just don't know how to market. You're young, but you know who Wolfgang Puck is?
I do.
The chef, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I could be trained by Wolfgang Puck, wherever he's at, and we could study with him for 6 months, a year, and we can open a restaurant, still go out of business.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with it because it's marketing, so that's their core competency. And then the other side of what I do is the human behavior side.
So you have a lot going on there, and you touched on marketing like 3 times in one sentence, which is wonderful, because if you don't market whatever you're doing, you can't be found. But you also have, what is one thing that stood up in your work is the idea that tactics alone are not enough anymore. It's the identity of what makes that position, that messaging, that certainty actually land a little bit differently. For entrepreneurs, speakers, and creators, how do you begin to shift the identity instead of just chasing the next strategy?
Yeah, well, that's my wheelhouse. And if I'm known for anything, it's my identity shifting using subconscious programming in the mind. And so identity shifting means that the subconscious mind seeks equilibrium. If you take a glass of water out of the ocean, the rest of the ocean rushes in to fill that void. Well, the same thing with the mind. It doesn't like being not having equilibrium. So a lot of people, and I'm not the guy that made this up, somebody did, but it was a great analogy, is most people out there are the thermometer, and they're out there and they're reacting to external circumstances. They're hot, they're cold, they're up, they're down, they're happy, they're sad, and they're all over the place based on external circumstances. What we do with my strategies is we make you the thermostat. Now you have a preset temperature, preset income, preset expectation. And when you do that, the environment starts to cater to that equilibrium and bring your money up, or your relationships up, or your emotional control up. So if you look at changing a person's identity, then, and I'll give you something that you can, you've been, in the same industry for a long time. When I present something to somebody, let's say it's training, program, or whatever that is, I already know a lot of people are going to have that little dialogue in their head. What makes this different? I've heard this before. Who's this guy? What if it doesn't work? What if I can't do it? What if I lose money? So that dialogue is the old identity based on past experience that says, don't go there. Get back where you want. This is safe over here. Over there's a risk. Get over here. And the challenge is your life doesn't change until you change that identity. And here's why, though. On a subconscious level, The reason that part of you, the old identity, is calling you back is because it doesn't want you to leave in the context of a new identity. Because if you move to a new identity, the old identity dies. I'm not talking about on your driver's license. I'm talking about it's self-preservation. It doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to be left alone. It wants you back over here. But once you move to that new identity, you become an entirely new version of you. You're the same person, but unconsciously, your law of expectation now integrates into your life. So you've heard me speak before, and I always, not always, but I'll talk about, that thought you're having or that feeling you're having right now, that one that's making up all these reasons why you can't do it. And I know when I'm speaking in front of an audience, that's what's going on in their head. That's the old identity wanting to embrace them and hold them and stay here, but guess what? They've been doing that for years. And when they adopt and integrate a new identity, it's so exciting. It's so internally motivated. It's the catalyst and the nucleus that now they only want to think, how do I get there? You talked to me, Melissa, you sold me on the resort in Maui. It is incredible. I just want to go. All I need to know, tell me how to get there.
Yeah, exactly. We have to reprogram a lot of minds, because how many times are we programmed by our parents? How many are we programmed by our friends? We're all programmed by someone else.
You're programmed primarily through authority figure, repetition, and traumatic incident. If you put a spider on a baby's chest, it plays with it. It thinks it's a toy. Until it bites it, traumatic incident, or until the parents say, no, don't touch that. So we are programmed. It's not always negative. Sometimes it's people wanting to help you or, take care of you or protect you. But I'm a big fan. I got asked this morning, Jim, what do you think about affirmations? I don't, one way or the other, but there's nothing wrong with them. But that's not even close to what I do. That's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's 3. What I do is a 10. Because if you know how to access the subconscious, moving what's called the critical factor out of the way, it's like surgery. You go in there and you get it done, versus affirmations that could take months. And then all of a sudden you reverse them going, it's not working. It's not working. I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I am wealthy. Great. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. And then pretty soon you just negated all the progress you had in the first place. Because you're reversing that affirmation. So I do a program called my mid-tier program, Millionaire Mind Design. And the reason I do that is because the people that attend are usually very ambitious. They're not people looking for direction. That might be deep dive. But they're ambitious, they're successful, they want to move forward, and they want to burst to either another $1 million in their bank account or the first time they ever get to $1 million. And that's 100% up here. They already have the vehicle. They already know what they're doing. They can't figure out how to get from here, to there, up here.
That's a big mindset shift that we have to go through to get from, here's my vehicle. I know I have the vehicle, but how do I drive the vehicle to where I'm going?
Yeah. Well, you're going to find the strategies and tactics. There's a myriad of people out there, that'll teach people that. And that's great, but 2 guys made a chicken sandwich. Okay, 2 guys, right? I don't know their names, so we're gonna make them a name: Joe and Larry.
Okay.
They made a chicken sandwich. One person has Joe's delicatessen in San Diego, and that's perfect. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, not everybody needs to be hyper ambitious, but the other guy invented Subway. It's the same product, except one guy has thousands of locations all over the world. The other guy can't figure out, maybe he doesn't want to expand, but if he did, the risk tolerance is so low that even opening a second location across town freaks him out.
Yeah.
Whereas the other guy, as you do, I know you do, I see the world as a marble. It doesn't matter. Here's Italy, here's the United States, here's Mexico. It's all little. Some people see the small area as the world. Like for them to expand from San Diego to Phoenix is, oh my God, it's like overwhelming expansion. But when you can minimize the actual expansion in your mind or the growth of you as an individual in your relationships, in your emotions. I have a challenge, I guess, that I do. I said $5,000 to anybody that can make me angry. Anybody, I don't care. Anybody, I don't care. I'll give it to you. Give it to anybody. $5,000 that nobody can make me angry. And so they go, really? Yeah. And they said, so I went out on a date one time, and I'm single, hi everybody. And so I went out on a date one time, and the woman I was with said, so nobody can make you angry? I said, no. And she goes, what if that guy sitting 4 seats away threw his drink in your face? What would you do? Oh, nothing. Would it make you? I didn't say nothing. I said, no. She said, would it make you angry? And I said, no. And she said, you let him do it? No, I didn't say that. I would get up.
You have to have anger.
I would get up and he would have a very bad evening. But that doesn't mean I need to be angry to do that, So anger is not a prerequisite to action, So it's emotional control where you can take those units. Everybody listening, how many of you take these mental units, we'll call them, and waste them on things when you can put them into your health, your relationships, your emotions, your money?
Mm-hmm. Once you can control your mental matter, then you can control your external life.
You're right. You're 100% correct, especially if you're using, highly advanced techniques. I've worked with professional poker players and UFC, MMA fighters. I just got in contact with San Diego Padres. I'm pointing because there's the stadium right there. Yeah. And so, so they know at that level it's up here. We always have fun with sports psychologists because they usually hire one. Yeah, when you're done with the amateurs, you can call me up. And so, because they don't know hypnosis, they don't know neurolinguistic cycle. They are very good at talking about visualizing and doing. So yeah, it works, but it's not as effective. And those are the people that want to sharpen the axe. The people that come to Millionaire Mind Design, they don't have to be millionaires. That's why they're coming, because they want to hit the millionaire. But they're very focused already. They go, I just need to get this done because life is ticking by. And that's one of my goals is revenue.
Exactly. Revenue makes the world go round, right?
Yeah, I love you said that because, somebody said to me yesterday, it's not all about the money. I said, I never said it was all about the money. So why don't you take your money and send it to me? It's not all about the money, but money is a social lubricant. I can't put a burn center. I wouldn't be able to afford that. I can't put a burn center on the children's hospital unless I paid for it, or I got the money together, or I fundraised. So it becomes that catalyst toward getting things done. And it's also a lot of fun because I know you do well, and if I want to go to, Chicago, I'm going. I don't want to save up. I don't need a helicopter. I don't need any of that stuff, but I just want to be able to go have life experiences easily accessible.
Exactly. It was, look, this is my life. The first time I met you, it was me saving up to be at your event, to speak at your event. Now I got an invite yesterday to be at Deep Dive. I was like, oh, okay, let me move my travel arrangements around. I'll be at Deep Dive next month.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, bring some friends. You guys come as my, anybody that's listening to this, if you know her, I'm a big believer on colleagues and friends and relationships. Get a hold of her, July 11th, San Diego. It's going to be super cool. We're going to have a little mixer at the penthouse afterwards. But if you can get a hold of her, she'll have a link that will let you in as her VIP guest for free. It's a $200 ticket. You don't have to pay it. Just get a hold of her, and she'll let you in as a VIP guest. And if you want to pay $200, that's okay. You can pay $20,000 if you want to. But if you get a hold of her, then yeah, she'll get you and let you in as well. And, it's a ripple effect.
It's wonderful that you allow me to do that, but it's me being there because I want to be there. I love hearing who you bring in to speak because these are world-class speakers.
Yeah, it's not an affiliate program. I mean, you're not going to make any money, but what you're going to do, people are able to, I like when people sometimes there is an agenda, and that's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I like when people look for an agenda and there isn't one. They're going, why would they do this? I go, he's not making anything off of it. I don't care. Sure, I'm going to make money, but why can't you just do something and let people
be nice?
Up? Yeah, there you go. How about that? What a concept.
It's a concept we got away from. Can we just be nice for a little bit? Put some positivity into the universe. We need that right now.
Yeah. What's the catch? None. Oh, is this a trick? No. Because, sure, there's going to be people that pay to attend, and there's going to be people that purchase programs or whatever that is. But at the same token, maybe this is what somebody needs. Maybe it's not even the information. Maybe it's just getting around people that don't laugh at them or support their dreams. I'm going to start an ostrich farm. Great. How can we help? It's people that don't laugh at their dreams because their colleagues sometimes, their circles of friends, they're just like, they do. That happened to me. I have 4 companies and I have a high school education outside of my specialized knowledge they don't teach in college. But that was me. I had to get around entrepreneurs. Literally, I had to get away from the people I was around and get around entrepreneurs that never laughed at any of my dreams, never laughed. And then they taught me, it's all up here. And once I changed my identity, man, I became a whole different person. And it was a lot, I'd say, taking your foot off the brake pedal. Everybody's driving the car of life. They got one foot on the gas pedal, pushing it down. They got their left foot's on the brake pedal. And they don't know that. It's like it's just resting there, but it's impeding their momentum toward their goal.
Exactly. Me, personally, I had to move 2,000 miles away to get around people that actually understand what I'm building.
Yeah, I know. And you're doing good. I mean, Melissa, what's the guarantee it's going to work? There isn't any. I expect it to, though. I have an unwavering expectation of success. But in reality, no. I mean, what's the guarantee of anything? I mean, so, one of the rules of the mind is what is expected tends to be realized. I expect what I'm going to do is going to work. Mm-hmm. I expect that person that I want to meet is going to want to meet me. Now, if they don't, okay. But I'm not going into it with an expectation of failure. I'm going into it with an expectation of succeeding. If I go to the Olympics, and let's say I'm a boxer, because I have a background in karate, but let's say I'm a boxer. I'm going in there expecting to win the gold. Now, if I don't, okay, I didn't. But I'm not going in there going, I don't know, the Romanians are pretty good. And, I think they could be better than us. I'm not going in there with all this doubt. I'm never going to get the gold if I'm doubting what I'm doing. So you need to enter into that. And especially with your own mind, is to get up in the morning and keep that insidious cognitive cancer called doubt out of there. It's like a drop of cyanide in a gallon of spring water. You can't filter it out. You got to make damn sure that the doubt doesn't get root systems in your head, because it'll stop you in your tracks.
It really will. Mm-hmm. So we're almost out of time. These were quick conversations. I love our conversations. So what is next for Jim Lutes besides Deep Dive?
Yeah, well, Deep Dive is going to be licensed, pseudo licensing. In other words, people host it. So if anybody's listening would like to host a Jim Lutes Deep Dive in a city, we can get a hold of me at jim@lutesinternational.com or get a hold of her. She'll connect you. We'll talk about what those logistics are. I want to expand it all over the country, Canada, and into Europe. And it's super cool, super fun. And of course, there's, a rev share on the back end for whoever's doing that, so you can make some profits as well. Millionaire Mind Designs every 2 months here in San Diego. And pretty much it's rinse and repeat. I've got everything dialed in to where I just want to, do more of the same, because the same is so rewarding and enjoyable. So.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works not just for you, but for those that come to your event.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a broadcast like this that is that moment where here's that old identity. Should I reach out to Melissa and Jim? I don't know. Got to stay away from that. You got to check out your new identity, because it's over here waiting. You just have to step into it. That's all.
Exactly. You're never going to get to that next level that you're dreaming of if you don't leave the current one behind.
100%. Yep, that's 100% correct. Mm-hmm.
So how can our listeners and our viewers get a hold of you?
Okay. Jim@lutesinternational.com, Lutes, all spelled out, one word, Jim@lutesinternational.com. They can go to Jim Lutes Mind on IG. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook with my name. However you want to reach out to me, reach out. I'm very accessible. It's not going to be a bot that's going to get a hold of you. It's going to be me. So if you see somebody answering a question, it's really me. Then I'm gonna actually answer your question. And so yeah, reach out to me. And here's the thing: hesitation is that brake pedal being put in park. I mean, just go. You have to just go. It doesn't matter how old you are. That's the old identity again. Stop listening to it. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 80. Who cares? Get around people like her. Get around people like me. We're here to serve. We're here to help, and we've got the skill sets to do it. So you just have to reach out and make it happen. It's not going to magically happen for you. So we're here to help too. She is as well.
Always. And because you do a lot of networking at your events, because we need to connect your speakers to your people that are there, there's a lot of networking involved. It's more valuable to be in the room than to keep yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot of rich Lone Rangers out there, but you got to get in the room, even if you don't feel like doing it. And I'll let you go with this. You know what the definition of discipline is? I'll tell you what it is: doing things you don't feel like doing when you have to do them. It is so absent today with people that they're how I do all kinds. You do. We do all kinds of stuff we don't feel like doing. So what? We have to do it.
Exactly. I feel like not doing anything most of the day, and I still have things to do, so they get done. But thank you so much for being on the show today. And for all of our viewers and our listeners, happy meditating.
Yes, you're wonderful, everybody. Nice to meet you virtually. Hope I can meet you in person. And thanks, Melissa. So much love to you, and we will chat soon.
Yes, we will.